Silent Hills 2 Remake is here October 8th. This game is releasing, and we have a review here that we're going to be talking about, giving you all the review scores plus some impressions and different things. Deep dive right now. Let's dive into it. Here we go. First things I want to say is thank you guys so much. We have giveaways on the channel, so make sure you check that out. I wanted to talk about Silent Hill, these reviews. It's looking like a high 80s to mid 90s. In between there is where everybody is scoring it at the moment. And that is a good news for those who are going to be trying it out when it releases very soon. What I can tell you guys is that they took a lot of heart and soul of the original, but they also expanded a lot of key areas when it comes to being indoors, a lot of new places to explore, whether it's outside as well. There's some things that are going to expand the game if that's what you want and you want to try to find new things, maybe a couple hidden little battles out there. That to me is exciting, interesting, and probably the best news about all of the reviews and all the information that we got about this game. The question that we've had is, do we just play the original or this game? And I want to start off with the graphics and just talk about the visual aspects, all right? The facial expressions and the details about the world visually. All of that stuff is probably top tier, and it is going to be more than enough to get you locked in. And I do think that, I mean, I can make a whole video just talking about this stuff, whether it's the textures, the rust, the way, you know, the facial expressions are during cutscenes, and even the battles where there's some very intense things going on. If you guys know the game at all, then you'll know that this is probably one of the most intense horror games that you'll play with the way they set it up. But speaking of the way the game plays, we're going to talk a lot about some gameplay things. Well, like I said, you know, you have a very cool interior that's a lot different. They changed some things, gave you better places to explore, basically more things you can find. And one of the conversations was about, you know, these minor small things that might not be a big deal, but for those that want to have a better time and maybe find some upgrades, some new weapons and new lore, and even these maps that you're watching are going to help you find your way. And so all of that is abundant. And Blooper, the team who helped make this game, shout out to Konami, the publishers who originally brought this game to life. Those guys did a good job with giving you tons to explore. You're going to find tons of weapons, I mean, ammo and heals, and places you can find and go through. And of course, there's tons of boss fights and things like that that we'll talk about. And you're going to see some footage of these boss fights, and they're not going to be very easy for the most part. But so for me, that is good news for anybody who's already played this game. You'll come back and feel like it's fresh. For those that are new, you know, I can just tell you this is probably one of the most intense stories. This is psychological horror. I could just say that without spoiling any story. I'm not going to get into the story at all, by the way, because I don't want to ruin the experience for anybody. But the key thing that I would take away when it comes to story is you're going to get all the main points. You're going to go through the same motions of the original. You're not missing out on much. Now, again, the expanded areas and locations that you can find, different lore or just different scenarios, maybe upgrades and things like that. That is where the focus of gameplay is very keen to help you evolve. Okay. And now I want to talk about gameplay. You know, there's some really unique bosses, some frustrating ones, and some interesting things that you might love or hate. We're seeing our buddy here, the Pyramid Head, but the combat is special. Okay. They did a feature that I thought is necessary, which is the dodge system. That is a super helpful system. You're going to see it be used a ton here. And basically, it allows you to survive, right? So you got to learn the patterns of their attacks. You got to learn their frame rates, the moments, and they kind of hesitate or they'll flinch. They'll do different things. So it's not all the same, you know. So you have the variety of enemies trying to attack you with melee attacks, and you're using your dodge and you're using your melee or you're shooting them, and a lot of good variety. And even the stomp system is very unique where they, you know, contextually you're going to be doing some really good attacks. And I love this new combat. You know, it's small little details. It's pretty much still the same when it comes to the experience that you could have. It's not like, you know, the horror is gone because you can dodge now. All of it is still intense and it's extreme, and you have to try to survive. And even on normal, you're going to have somewhat of a difficult time. I'm assuming, you know, top players will get it done and not die at all. But then there's some people who will end up getting hurt, getting destroyed, and having to deal with these guys. And again, one of the biggest thing is finding that ammo, looking at these puzzles, looking at different things in the game to help you evolve and be able to compete with these enemies and have enough ammo, have enough resources for healing and things like that. It's going to help you big time. And again, this is up to you, unless you want to make the game harder and not explore at all and not get lost in those things. But again, the game focuses on allowing you this freedom for some of the things. And of course, in general, you're going to have to do some exploring and some puzzle solving and things like that. Figure out what exactly they're trying to showcase to you. So it is special indeed, and I'm very excited about it. And I kind of want to go through a couple of little tidbits for you guys to help you see some of the stuff that I been checking out. So there's the articles right now. Some of them are giving it a perfect 10. IGN France, I just want to kind of go through some of their stuff. They said they modernize a masterpiece for the psychological obsessive legacy, a timeless work of art, carefully revisited. And I can't deny that. Like, I mean, that's well put together, and it's true on that front. Now, the scores, we got to see what we're feeling, what we're thinking. I mean, leave it in the comment after you play if you come back and let me know what you're thinking. And then we have Miu PlayStation. I don't know who that is. I never heard of that company. They gave it a 92. GameSpot gave it a 90. That's pretty high. And then Gamers RD another 90. So that's some extremely high scores. There's one that I've never heard of in my life called Guy Gry Online, and they gave it a 60. And they said regular representative of the genre, is quite good, should deliver lots of fun for gamers of its kind. Horror in the history, the new version looks extremely mediocre. I don't even know why they let these people review it. It looks like somebody they don't even know how to spell, to be honest with you. And there, which is the eyes of a great crime, simply bad game. Wow. Yeah, I think they just came on here. That's a review bomb, guys. We're looking at the Metacritic stuff. And again, you can't believe everything you see on there, but just wanted to read a little bit and see what they're saying. And clearly they don't know what they don't know what they're saying. But to kind of close off on some of my thoughts and opinions and some of the stuff that we've seen already and that we know and that we feeling without getting into story, you have amazing intense moments, and the visuals just add to this game. There's something about making a remake for a horror, and we've seen it from other games, other horror genres coming back and making remakes. And this game's like the level of detail of the enemies and all of that just adds value like you've never seen before, in my opinion. And it really, really changes things and makes things just more gripping, whether it's just the fluidity of the gameplay or the visuals that kind of give it another feel or look. For example, just the paper here, the dirty feel to it, and things like that. Those are things you don't get the way you do now, where it feels a lot more immersive. So, to me, that's what this remake does. And it's like if I was gonna play the original, now I can play modernized version that's actually well put together versus something that's outdated and not as fluid. So to me, that's the kind of thing that I want to see in gaming in general, and that's what makes me excited. So I most likely will be streaming this when it releases. I definitely want to check it out. It's looking very good. um Blooper definitely cared a lot about this game. You can tell that they weren't just you know throwing it together like the original and not changing anything. They added their own elements to it to give it a new feel and a new play. And so I'm just curious how the public will see it, because all of reviews don't matter. Really matters about those who just play games and want to see for themselves. So feel free to share your thoughts. Is this like a candidate? Are we doing remake candidates? I feel like we should just do a category in the future, not put them in as game of the year, just put them as remake of the year. We gotta have its own category. And this can go up there as one of the best remakes of this year, I would assume, unless there's something else out there coming out sometime in the near future. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And feel free to drop what you're thinking below. We have more coverage on the channel. Go check it out. Appreciate y'all. Hope you're having a blessed one. Take care of yourself and take care of others. Stay safe.